Hi, it's Greg Banks in the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM studios in Huntington. Hey, glad to have you along. We trust you had a great Thanksgiving holiday, getting together with family and friends, and of course, imbibing in a lot of Thanksgiving turkey. How many ways can you now take that turkey or the remnants thereof and maybe prepare a meal? Sandwiches, maybe turkey soup, turkey pot pie. I mean, there's a lot of things you could probably do with that. Someday I'll ask you to share some of your recipes with us. We'll put those on the air. Hey, meanwhile, today is the first day of hunting season, buck season. In Pennsylvania, it is a holiday for many. I don't care where you live. You could live in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, major cities, or even rural areas. But for the most part, the kids have the day off of school, whether they hunt or not. Over 50,000 hunters have graced the woods and forests of Pennsylvania today. We hope that you have a successful day. More importantly, be safe out there. And I would imagine if, and I do live in a rural area, if I had a dog, I'd probably bring him in today. Just so there are no accidents or no, no situations where they thought that might be a deer. All right, because, the older you get sometimes, the worse your eyesight gets. And it's been known that people have shot things like cows, maybe a few horses and a dog or two during hunting season. So, hey, best of luck out there. Be careful. It's a beautiful day. Lots of sunshine, high temperature, getting up to about 51 today. Untraditionally speaking for the weather, because this time of year, we're always looking forward to a little bit of snow. And at this point, we've not seen any to speak of. And there's nothing in the forecast. I know today is one of those days that if I weren't doing some work in the studios and around the house, I'd probably even be out maybe fishing, feeding the fish, because soon the fish will hibernate as well. I don't know if they hibernate, but I don't know where they go. Matter of fact, I really don't care. After December, I'm not out there fishing anyhow because it's too cold. Although I knew some old timers back in the days when I was a youngster who would still be out there fishing now. Probably all the way through March, and then getting ready for the spring thaw and then catching those suckers on the Juniata River or Stone Creek, if you will. So in any event, we just wrapped up 12 weeks of high school football. And I know you're probably thinking, well, geez, Greg, you didn't play. You just broadcast those games on the Air Network and 94.1 FM. Matter of fact, you didn't really even broadcast them. You just produced them. Well, it was hard work. 12 weeks of a commitment to anything gets to be a long, drawn-out situation. But, hey, the Huntington Bearcats, what a season they had. Wrapping up their season, 10-2 totally, losing one regular season game to Central, and then losing that District 6 game just a couple of weeks ago to Forest Hills, who, by the way, got beat over the weekend by Sharon. The other upset in high school football regionally was Bishop Guilfoyle, ending their 59-game streak, getting beat by Homer Center. So Homer Center moves on, and Sharon moves on after beating Forest Hill. So it was a great season, and the Huntington Bearcats aren't done yet. They have their Booster Club banquet coming up next Thursday at the Smithfield Fire Hall, invitation only, and Chad States will be the guest speaker there. Dave Shannon will probably show up. He's the Bearcat broadcaster this year, along with Chad States, and yours truly may even make an appearance. That would be kind of cool, but here's something really cool. If you're looking for a great gift for perhaps your Bearcat player, fan, or friends, or even alumnus, we've got all 12 games on a thumb drive this year where you can go back and listen to all 12 of those Bearcat games at your heart's content. I was just listening yesterday in my car. I listened to that first game against Mount Union, and then I listened to a bunch of other games too in my travels. But what's really cool, these cards are equipped now with these USB ports, and you take that thumb drive, you stick it in there, and then you select the game that you want to listen to. Well, it's available for sale, $50 per thumb drive, all 12 Bearcat games on there from the beginning to the end. I think we counted almost 48, I don't know how many hours of broadcasting there was, but it was close to 48 hours. So if you're looking at maybe a keepsake, a gift that you can give for a lifetime, and can you imagine being a senior in high school and having played on that Bearcat team, to be able to take that thumb drive and then listen to it maybe 20, 30 years from now when you have children or perhaps even grandchildren. It's a great way to archive it. Who knows what the technology will be in 30, 40 years, but it's kind of cool because you can then transfer it to whatever the technology is of that day. And it's really simple. Thumb drive, maybe 2-3 inches long. And it has 12 entire broadcasts with all the commercials and everything in it. The interviews that I did at halftime. And of course the coaches' interviews. And of course the entire game. So you know what? If you're looking to buy the thumb drive with all 12 Bearcat games on it, simply send a money order or check to Greg Banks, P.O. Box 56, Huntington, PA 16652. Again, make that check out or money order to Greg Banks, P.O. Box 56, Huntington, PA 16652, and it's a gift for a lifetime, just in time for the holiday season. Having said that, we are this week working on our winter sports schedule. We'll have boys, girls basketball this season coming up in about 3 weeks. We've got high school wrestling as well with Bearcat wrestlers who have been successful over the last 5 to 10 years. And, of course, they're coached by John Mikett, who was also one of the assistant football coaches. So we're looking forward to all the winter sports coming up in just a few weeks. It's Huntington Bearcat boys and girls basketball, and also you'll hear the broadcast of Huntington wrestling. Now, we're not going to be able to bring you all the games, but what we like to do is be able to, let's say, 1 week cover the boys basketball team, maybe the next week wrestling, and then the following week girls basketball. So it'll sort of be a rotation of sorts throughout the winter season. I think we have somewhere around 12 to 15 events. As we brought you, of course, the game each week of high school football, we'll bring you some winter sports action for you and some really important games, and even follow them into the playoffs and the postseason tournaments. So get set for Bearcat Winter Sports and our broadcast coming up on, of course, theairnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. Meanwhile, I don't know about you, but Black Friday was not a tradition in my household over the last, maybe 2 decades. I've not been to a mall, not even sure if they still build malls since they invented the internet. It's a lot easier for me to be shopping online, a lot safer that way too, and less travel. Matter of fact, I've had, 2 orders already in for the holiday season in the last 2 weeks, and they both have come in, and we've got more going out. So it seems like every year we get more friends, so we have to send more gifts. My family members, meanwhile, get older. They don't want anything, or at least they say, don't get me anything. Or if you have, grandchildren, like, hey, Pappy, just send me some cash. Anything from $100 on up. Meanwhile, you ever notice, and if you have grandchildren, I hope this isn't happening in your household, they really never call you. They don't keep in touch. When you do see them, you say, how you doing and how's it going in school? And it's real brief because they're on their phone or their mobile devices, and they're just, even at dinner. I remember having lunch just recently with the grandchildren. He's 17, she's 13, and they're on those phones. And, I just had to put my foot down. I know it was in public, and it was a spectacle, but I had to say something because I've said it before. Maybe they forget every year, but it's like, okay, shut them off. Heaven forbid you're having dinner, and then I don't know what the next step would be, but I imagine somebody at the restaurant would have probably called 911 and I'd have been carted away and I wouldn't be able to talk to you right now. So as things go, everybody's doing well here. We hope that you're doing well, and you get set for Bearcat, of course, winter season and Christmas. That's coming up to me, and I don't know about you. I have a tree up. The lights are up there. I had to find a tree topper this year for this tree. It was like a mini tree or something. And so I found one at Dollar General. And I got that tree topper, which, by the way, is a star, multicolored star. And I've been suffering with this, whatever it is. I have to go to the doctors because I've been having this tickling in my throat. And, you want to sneeze and stuff. And everybody says, well, maybe you're getting hay fever as you get older. Well, I can deal with the hay fever. If it's something more serious than that, and I hate to say this, I probably won't be around next Christmas, so I'm trying to get it all said now. Yeah, I know you can joke about that stuff until the last day. And it's like, well, see, he just said he didn't think he was going to make it. I'm hoping I make it, and that it's not anything serious. But I hope that you're doing well. And I know, I just stop by from time to time. We ought to do a regular talk show and get you to call us up. We're working on that, but right now I'm really working on retirement. I said I was going to do this like 2 or 3 years ago, and then for whatever reason, we had to bring our businesses home and rebuild them. Then we got involved in some community activities where we volunteered. And then a year ago, matter of fact, this month, I sprung a brother of mine who's a couple years older than me out of a nursing home. He was in a nursing home, and he wasn't doing real well, but, I just thought, well, we got to get him out of there, got to get him home. And it took us a couple of months and finally got him home. Then it took us a couple of months to get doctors, get him into rehab. And the guy was living with me. He was living pretty large, but he wanted to go and be independent. So we eventually got him an apartment after maybe 8 months, 9 months. Oh, okay, so it was almost a year. Got him an apartment, and now he's living independently. He says he is, but, well, we'll see. I was at the apartment yesterday, and it looks like it needs cleaned up. And he's not a good cook either. So I won't even mention the name of the apartment because, well, you'll probably hear about it in the news if he ever decides to cook. I'm not saying, it could be a tragedy. Oh, but it could be a mess. And anyhow, so it's been a year of that, what you basically call your caregiving scenario. And I don't know if you've ever been put into that situation before, but it's like, oh, you have to put your life on hold. And that's what we did. And so now we're trying to find our way around retirement for real. Try to find, okay, I have this 29-foot RV. Now, where do we want to go? Let's go somewhere warm like, let's go to Florida. But now I got to buy a truck because, I didn't think about that. I might want to tow this thing somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah, so like somewhere warm. And that little car I have, and it's a small car, believe me, real small. It ain't pulling nothing. No, it doesn't pull anything. It's lucky that it'll pull me over a hill and back. So anyhow, that's where we're at now. I got a lot of books to read. Oh, I got like Netflix. And I don't know if you've been watching some of these shows on Netflix. Like there's all kinds of documentaries. There's that new one called Godless, I think it's called. The Western. I'm getting into that. I've only seen a couple of episodes of that. I think there's 7 that are now streaming. So I keep saying, I'm going to binge watch this. But the problem is I get into the first 30, 40 minutes and then I fall asleep. And then I'm like, crap, man, I missed 3 episodes here. I didn't even get a chance to watch. And then you go back and try to watch those and you can't get back to that spot. I haven't figured that part out yet. But so I'm watching Godless, and there's some other things I want to watch and read these books. I got this new book that Chris Matthews wrote about Bobby Kennedy. I just got that the other day. Who else? Obama. The guy that's on Meet the Press. What's his name? He's a young guy. Anyhow, to me, he's young. He's probably my age. But anyhow, he wrote a book about Obama called The Stranger. So I want to read that too. So that's my winter reading. And damn it, I guess if you don't take the time to read this stuff, you just never get it read. You ever notice that? It's like, okay, something else takes precedent in your life. So here we got about 2 or 3 weeks before winter sports, and doggone it, I'm going to read some stuff, and I'm going to watch Netflix, and I'm in no hurry. Because, if you're in a hurry at this age, it's like, okay, so what are you in a hurry to do? You worked 45 years. Now you're in retirement, although you're not really retired because you own these businesses. And somebody has to run them. And anyhow, without getting into a long story or the litany of how life works, I'm just going to find the time. I'm just going to read stuff, and I'm going to watch Netflix. Oh, I might eat a lot of cake and stuff, too, and just maybe gain 20 pounds. Then I'll be 120 pounds. And then maybe even eat more and then be 140 pounds by the end of the year next year. Wouldn't that be cool? It's like, dude, you put on some weight, finally. How'd you do that? Well, I sat around and ate cake all winter, and I watched Netflix and read some books. Now, women hate that when they put on a couple of pounds. They're like, oh, my God. When they ask you things like, does my butt look big? See, I learned 34, 40 years ago, you don't answer that question, especially if she's not married to you, and, well, if she is, and especially if she's like a relative or just a friend. There's a pat answer for that. Does my butt look big? It's like, no, it looks like it did a couple years ago. It looks like about the same size you had in high school. I think that's how you answer that question when they say, does my butt look big? My God. But the reality is in the back of your head, and thank God it never comes out of your mouth, honey, you need to put a beeper on that just so I know you're coming. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh my God. So it happens with women. I don't know about guys. I'm going to probably eat as much as I can. I'm on this regiment where I can drink all the beer that I want and I don't gain a pound. I know, I'm sort of like stuffing it down your throat and you're like, oh, dude. But hey, it's metabolism, man. When you have a high metabolism, you can eat stuff, you can drink stuff. You don't have to look at anything calorically. You don't have to eat anything that says light on it or diet this. You just grab the original stuff and you just do it. Of course, your blood pressure goes up. You then add a lot of, you probably, you get cholesterol and stuff. I've not gotten all that yet. I just have that little scratch in the back of my throat. That's probably enough to kill me. And so on my tombstone, it will say, here lies a man who ate and drank what he wanted, when he wanted, who never answered that question, does my butt look big? But he died of a scratchy throat. I don't know. Hey, listen, let's do this again sometime. I will talk to you soon. Greg Banks in the Air Network at 94.1 FM. Get set for Bearcat Winter Sports. We've got boys and girls basketball and wrestling all coming up just ahead. Thanks for tuning in.